Welcome to Headline Hub Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. In the South China Sea, a modern David and Goliath story is unfolding, not with weapons, but with strategy and resolve. The Philippines, with a modest military, faced China's overwhelming power. Instead of preparing for war, the Philippines prepared its arguments, choosing laws, cameras, and alliances over cannons. This is the story of a silent power move, a small nation standing up to a superpower without firing a shot. The Philippines took its case to international law, built a network of allies, and used cameras to document every encounter. By turning the sea into a global stage, the Philippines ensured the world could not look away. This approach rewrote the rules of modern disputes, showing that strength lies in conviction and cleverness, not just military might. The world watched, expecting the Philippines to back down, but it held its ground. The story is a lesson for the world. Peaceful, smart, and persistent action can create waves of change. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, a nation can find power in law, alliances, and the will of its people. The Philippines' resilience continues to inspire, proving that the story is still being written. This is how a smaller nation challenged a giant and made the world take notice. The South China Sea is more than water. It's a lifeline for millions, a highway for global trade, and a source of food and energy. For the Philippines, this sea is part of its identity and heritage, connecting islands and sustaining communities. Its fishing grounds, like Scarborough Shoal, are ancestral territories. Losing them means losing history and livelihood. China, however, claims almost the entire sea, marking it with a sweeping 9-dash line that cuts into its neighbors' waters. For China, control means security, power, and access to resources. This clash of interests has turned the sea into a global flashpoint. The conflict is about more than rocks and reefs. It's about sovereignty, international law, and the right to control one's own resources. For the Philippines, it's a fight for survival and dignity. For the world, it's about peace and the rules that keep global trade flowing. The outcome will shape not just the region, but the future of international order. The stakes are high, and the consequences reach far beyond these waters. The South China Sea matters, to the Philippines and to us all. China began transforming the South China Sea by building artificial islands on submerged reefs. Massive dredging ships turned tiny rocks into sprawling military outposts, complete with airstrips, harbors, and missile systems. This was a bold move to project power far from China's shores and assert control over contested waters. For the Philippines, these islands were a direct threat, built within its own exclusive economic zone, pushing out local fishermen. The world watched as China's actions shifted the region's balance, threatening freedom of navigation and damaging fragile marine ecosystems. The artificial islands became unsinkable fortresses, changing the strategic landscape. China's message was clear: these waters were now under its control. The dispute was no longer just legal, it was a physical occupation, harming ordinary Filipinos. The transformation of the sea was now impossible to ignore. Unable to match China militarily, the Philippines took the fight to the courtroom. In 2013, it filed a case at the Permanent Court of Arbitration, challenging China's sweeping claims under international law. China refused to participate, dismissing the process as illegal. The Philippines focused its case on the legality of the 9-dash line and the rights of all nations under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. The legal battle was intense, with the Philippines presenting maps, documents, and expert testimony. After 3 years, the court delivered a landmark ruling in 2016. China's 9-dash line had no legal basis, and its actions violated Philippine rights. The tribunal condemned China's island building and environmental destruction. The ruling gave the Philippines the moral and legal high ground, even if it couldn't be enforced by force. The world now knew international law was on the Philippines' side. This legal victory became a powerful tool in the ongoing struggle. The Philippines had changed the game. without firing a shot. The pen, it seemed, could be mightier than the sword. With the 2016 ruling in hand, the Philippines turned to its allies. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty became more important than ever, with joint military exercises sending a clear message to China. But the Philippines didn't stop there. It built a coalition with Japan, Australia, and other nations concerned about China's actions. These partnerships brought new patrol vessels, training, and joint naval drills, making it harder for China to isolate the Philippines. Diplomatic support grew, with countries like the UK, France, and Germany endorsing the arbitral ruling and sending their own ships through the contested waters. Every Allied ship was a quiet act of support, reinforcing the principle of freedom of navigation. The Philippines reframed the dispute as a defense of international law, attracting global backing. China found itself increasingly isolated on the world stage. The power of alliances turned a regional dispute into a global cause. Friendship and unity became the Philippines' shield in stormy waters. The message was clear. The Philippines was not alone. Together, these nations stood for the rules that keep the seas open. In unity, the Philippines found strength. The Philippines wielded a new weapon, the camera. Coast Guard and military crews documented every encounter with China using smartphones, drones, and high-quality video. These images were shared instantly with the world, turning local incidents into global news. The footage showed Chinese ships blocking and harassing Filipino vessels, making the reality undeniable. Assertive transparency became the strategy. Every confrontation was evidence, every video a call for support. China could no longer control the narrative. The world saw the bullying firsthand. The camera became an equalizer, allowing the Philippines to win the information war. International sympathy and support grew with every viral clip. The truth, captured on film, became the Philippines' most powerful defense. In this conflict, the camera truly was mightier than the cannon. The Philippines' peaceful stand sparked a surge of national pride. Images of brave Coast Guard crews and fishermen became symbols of resilience and heroism. The hashtag Atin ang West Philippine Sea trended, uniting Filipinos across the country. Civil society, artists, and musicians rallied, turning the struggle into a cultural movement. The BRP Sierra Madre, once a symbol of decay, became a beacon of defiance. The Marines stationed there became national icons, inspiring the nation. This wave of patriotism pressured leaders to stand firm against Chinese encroachment. Defending the West Philippine Sea became a national duty, not just a policy. Unity and pride became the Philippines' greatest strengths. The heart of a nation, beating with determination, proved unbreakable. Confrontations in the South China Sea have become digital battles. When Chinese ships use water cannons against Philippine vessels, the footage is broadcast worldwide within hours. The dramatic images show the danger and damage, making denial impossible. Instant global sharing generates swift condemnation from governments and human rights groups. Each incident transforms a local clash into an international test of law and norms. The Philippines' information strategy neutralizes China's physical power. The water cannon, meant to intimidate, now symbolizes Chinese bullying. Every attack backfires, strengthening support for the Philippines. Transparency and communication turn tactical disadvantages into strategic victories. In the digital age, the world is watching, and the Philippines is winning the narrative. The Philippines' smart, peaceful strategy has changed the balance in the South China Sea. China's actions are now exposed, its plans disrupted by global scrutiny. Other Southeast Asian nations are taking note, adopting similar tactics. The Philippine model, assertive transparency, alliances, and law, offers hope to smaller states everywhere. But the dispute is far from over. China still patrols and builds. The future depends on choices made in Manila, Beijing, and beyond. The Philippines must stay resolute, nurture alliances, and keep the world's attention. This story proves that courage and creativity can make a small nation strong. The unwritten future of the West Philippine Sea will test whether the pen, the camera, and the law can remain mightier than the sword. The next chapter is still being written by those who dare to stand for what is right.